first thing we do, right? Always look at the monthly. We want to make sure that we're zooming out. Um, so we actually broke that previous low, right? It's something that we talked about yesterday. Previous low, being an area to watch. If we breach that area, we kind of open the gate to the downside, right? Not necessarily saying that it's going to continue, but it just, the door's open. So, we were kind of in this range here. You see this previous month's high and then this previous month's low. Well, now that we've breached that low, we've got to start paying attention to some key levels from March, right? And, some of these key levels happen to be that open of March, which was 39.6375. That there's a semi-equilibrium there, right? You could do like 39.60 to really to like, I guess that's a big level, but yeah, probably around that 39.60-ish area. But for the most part, it kind of looks like, it's just kind of maintaining. Not really, not really the best look so far to start the month. We're only 5 days in. Happy Cinco de Mayo. For anyone that's going to celebrate today, everybody should, right? Tacos are good for you. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say here about the monthly. We're just kind of getting this continuation look to the downside. It does look like the market's kind of bouncing. Remember, this is non-extended hours chart. Switching over to the weekly, you could see on the weekly we had that kind of breach of the downside and a pop back up. And so something to notice on the weekly as we're coming into Friday is that it's an outside week, right? Which is not uncommon for a Fed week. And, it's definitely something that we want to be paying attention to. We broke the upside early on in the week, and then yesterday broke the downside. So today we'll monitor to see if there's any continuation, but really you can see, I mean, it's kind of an ugly one. And you could probably just ignore these months here or these weeks here, but we'll call this a 2-week balance, right? Depending upon how we end this week. If we end, anywhere above this 65 area or 62.75, then, we'll be looking at a weekly balance. Switching over to the daily, you can see we actually moved lower 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row and came right down to that 50 moving average and caught a bid and have since kind of come back in. When we still have this weak level down here, didn't quite get to it, right? That level being that 61 quarter. Yesterday's low was 62 quarter, so about a point away from it. So it seems like maybe there is still some buying. Did run into that 50 moving average, so we'll kind of see. And then there's still that gap below us that it has not got down to yet. This is an area where, if we were to like say this is a minute chart, let's say this was a 1-minute chart, it's an area where you would say like, oh, okay, this is resistance, right? Couldn't hold, turns it into support, comes back to it, resistance, turns it into support, right? And so a move back down to this like 40-20 area, 4,000 area will really be a key area to see if it's going to hold as support if we get any more continuation to the downside. Excuse me, my allergies are bothering me today. But I mean, you can really see that it's a key resistance and support area. Same thing with our equilibrium, our 41.37.75 area, right? Same idea we've been talking about for a while here. On the profile, we had a gap down yesterday. You can see, we're recovering here today, which is not really a surprise. Market's basically been trading up all night. Apple earnings were good. Apple traded up all night. Market really liked it, so it just continued. But yesterday we really got that continuation early on, and then the market seemed to run into some buyers, came up, didn't take the high, and then basically settled right in the middle of the profile or close to the middle of the profile. And really just a balanced day, right? Never got above that initial A high. So initially the market opened and started to liquidate, started to look like a B-shaped profile. Sellers got a little bit too short. They squeezed them back up, stopped out all those weak-handed shorts, and then brought value back down. And so that's kind of the key of yesterday, is that value was lower and we held the gap all day. So it didn't seem like anyone was really being an initiative buyer. It did seem like we were getting a lot of shorts, a lot of people trying to come in and ride the momentum to the downside. We ended up leaving a pretty decent amount of mechanical levels here towards the end of the day. You could see here, and then overnight opened and pretty much traded straight up for the most part. Um, we're gonna be, it looks like we're gonna be clearing that gap, and almost looks like we're gonna be opening up in this upper distribution. We still have about 10 minutes, but you're still gonna be opening up in this higher distribution, right? We have this bigger distribution down here, weak spot here from like 98 to 05. So if we come down to this 05 and start to find a bid, that would be kind of key to get long, at least into like the 15, and then maybe up into that 25. Um, and then really above that 25, the next level up would be like up here in the 30s to the 40, and back into this profile. I'm not sure why this day is kind of just, oh, you just can't see it when you're zoomed out. But you've got single prints up here, basically from the 30 half to the 18 half. So we can maybe expect some resistance there. There's some shorter time frame longs that are probably still stuck on this day right before that liquidation. That's the FOMC day. We can kind of assume, we'll see how strong they are. We've basically been talking about this all week, how we said the reaction off of the FOMC may have been a little bit overdone basically with the markets reacting to Powell saying that he's gonna pause, right? And so we'll kind of see. We definitely want to understand we are going to see most likely some change here on the daily, right? We were one time framing to the downside. We're now going to be moving. We're going to get a little cessation of one time framing. Kind of what I'm thinking here today, as well as like, so we have these single prints above, right? Let's say we just get a straight up auction. We'll be looking for a little bit of resistance there, backstopping with that 40 and maybe a move back down. I'm looking at this as like a 2-day balance, right? This day was for the most part inside the previous day, and we get a little look below here. So if we smash these two together and we see that point of control is basically right at that 40 level, right? The volume point of control is basically at that 40 level. Even if we include the overnight profiles, you can see for the most part it's about the same, right? You're at 42, VPOC sitting at 37. So around that area is going to be a key area to look for some resistance. And if you don't get any resistance, then there's decent odds that we end up trading up here into this weak spot, 60-ish, 50-ish. Well, actually, it's more like 58 to 62, in order to test the market's sellers, right? To see if they're still willing to sell, right? Because we assume that there's still decent amount of short inventory, right? We still have this gap above that's holding. So if we get up into this area where there's a weak spot on the profile, we should see responsive selling. And if we don't see responsive selling, then they'll probably end up going for closing the gap. Remember, every time that we've gotten pretty much above 70, there's been a liquidation, right? It happened again. We moved up. We actually held up one day and then liquidated the next day. So that is still, going to be fresh in the mind, or should be fresh in the mind. But yeah, I mean, that is pretty much the plan here. I'll be looking for acceptance, right? Like I said, that 5 area, That's basically this previous low. T2 low is at 550. So we got to pull back to that 550 and get a nice hold. And even once we start to print a couple TPOs inside this previous range, which I'm calling a 2-day balance, then the odds start to increase that we're going to close these singles and trade back up to that 30, right? And then you'll be looking for responsive selling here up 40 to, basically from like 36 to 50 area. So kind of a big area up there. So you really just have to kind of wait and see how it acts once it gets up there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yes, the COT. Yeah, they did. The COT was pretty like net long, like across the board. To be honest with you, I was looking at a lot of things, but yeah. So here's that COT report. This is from the 25th, and you can see asset managers added some longs. They also added short here as well. Still fairly net long, and then even smart money added longs and then cut their short. Surprise, surprise, the market went down. Uh, you know, like I said, leverage funds for the most part pretty much just fucking wrong all the time. Um, Tuesday was what, the second, and that would be this day here. We'll kind of see how the COT report responds. It's really kind of bullshit that we don't get to see an active COT report. I think. No, the report comes out on Friday every day, every week. So yeah. Well, there's probably like a lot of like clearing and there's yeah, probably some bullshit in it, I imagine. They're going to be open up on a gap higher, right? And you see the settle way down 75. So we're going to be opening up, 35 points above it, right? With 33 points above it. So uh, most likely real positive tick, real positive breath, right? Let's watch Apple here early on to see if the key is going to be back to the upside. The VIX is sitting right at 20 right now, so we do have a pretty elevated VIX, surprisingly enough. Well, I guess not really surprisingly after that big move to the downside. And I mean, in the big scheme of things, it wasn't really that big of a move, but it feels big because we had been in such a small moving range for a while. And remember, like, we look back at the daily here, right? We were kind of chopping around, and boom, got to move down, and then boom, big move up. Now we got another big move down, right? We'll kind of see what happens. And typically, for the most part, they always say the market takes the stairs up and the elevator down. So kind of what we've been seeing. It looks like that jobs report this morning was a bullish report because market seemed to go up off of it. He's had the impulse was basically from that 4104 shot down and then shot right back up. And to me, that's kind of like a okay, well, let's check back into yesterday's range. Are there still buyers? Still buyers. Market moves up. So if we start to see acceptance above this 05, that kind of says, you know, single prints are on the table. Morning, everybody. Morning, Roach. Morning, Liquor. Morning, Marcin. You do want to be cautious here getting long. Like, let's say the market just opens, starts going straight up. Just be careful, right? Single prints are right there. So you could see some liquidation heading into those. Here we go, 5 seconds. A little bit of a bid shows up there, and sellers got kind of stuck. Dow's making a higher or move higher. Nasdaq's coming down. All right, we're getting into those singles, so just be careful. If you got long off the open, you should have getting into these singles. So now you want to start looking to cover. Trade right through them. A little bit of an offer tries to come in on the 20, gets ran over. $41.40 on deck. I like that. I actually added to my long-term account yesterday at 40.75. I had a good amount of lots long from 40 or 41.09. Sold most of them when we were up above 41.50, and then yesterday bought a couple more. I had 2 at 40.75 yesterday. Let's just see if we're gonna go 41.08. Air 4208 half. Yeah, there's a lot of volume up there at the 20, 21. Nasdaq and the Dow both still looking decent. Microsoft had like a little flush on the open, but popped back up above its open. Apple still looks pretty strong. Nvidia still looks pretty strong. You can see the breath and the tick and everything real strong. Decent offers trying to come in. What look to see if they reoffer. I mean, you've got a couple bids stuck here, but you're not getting a ton of downticks. You still have some stuck shorts here at 18 half. There's a decent offer comes in 19 half, 19 quarter. Shorts are still stuck on 18 here. A lot of selling down here, and they can't really get downticks there. You kind of see the double distribution look here too. So let's say if you're long, right, you don't really want to see it get below this distribution. If it starts to get below that distribution, that's where the odds start to increase of a liquidation back down to this lower distribution. Calls or puts? But there's a Fed speaker on at noon today, so there may be some. Or it's on. He's on at 1. You're right. Yeah, 1. Others still keep getting stuck on 18 there. Apple hit the target 171. At 173.75 now. So still doing well. What makes sense to me is like if we do get a liquidation and you just trap a ton of momentum shorts back here at this area, this like 5 to 10 area, um, and then the market gets back above the open, there'll be a bunch of short covering that close this gap. We may not get that, right? But that's just something that like I'm still looking out for. I'm still holding the long. I have to close it here. Actually, I'm not a huge fan of this 25 area. It's been kind of a wishy-washy area. Oh, I forgot I moved it like this. Yeah, decent offer comes in right there. I moved my last stop to 20 half. I only have one lot left, so it was only a 3 lot trade. Still stepping up though, pretty good. Dow's still looking pretty strong. Nasdaq's still looking pretty strong. The breath picked back up, and you're starting to have. Right, we've talked about this before. When we start to see the advanced declines pinned over 2,000, this is a day like Roach talks about where they don't even let shorts out. Every downtick just gets bought, and people get short, 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 and eventually pay the fucking iron price. You're just seeing stuck shorts all over the board here. Volume is slowing down a little bit here. Already about 22% of the volume from yesterday. At 37.75 is like a magnet too. I remember we said when we smashed these together, you got that VPOC at 37 when we combined them with the evening sessions. What the fuck? Why does it do that? Stupid. We combine them with the evening sessions, right? We've got that VPOC at 37, and then you've got the TPOC sitting at like 43. So those would be kind of key areas to see, especially above that 36. Dow's on a tear to the upside. Everything's moving up in correlation today, right? This doesn't seem like a market that you really want to fight. Nasdaq breath is cooling a little bit. And that's because Microsoft is not really doing great. Microsoft's actually red. VIX dropped down, opened 17. What was this? Open was down at like 18, and it's down below in 1789 right now. Offers trying to come back in here. Little triple distribution now. What was that high tick? 1643, that high tick was. That's pretty high. What's the 27 quarter above? That's kind of where that offer has been sitting. Look to see if it pops back up there, if you get a little re-offer. If not, you got 400 lots sitting on the 30. And this thing's aggregating them as one order, which is surprising. Man, it might be the biggest I've ever seen. Yeah, so like right here, look to see if there's a reoffer right here. If there's no reoffer, then we're probably going to 30. Reoffer steps in. See that reoffer there? Get 320 lots, 260. Now let's just see if they can go down tick. Keep getting upticked. It just tells you there's a like someone just absorbing. There is. $800 lots on the 30, excuse me, not 400. Offer comes back in pretty decent. Like, I mean, they're really trying to reoffer this level here. Look like you got a little bit of long liquidation up at the high. There's that kind of look we saw yesterday, right? Big volume nodule on the downside. Now, you on both sides this time, though. Buyers trying to hold it up in this upper distribution, right? They know if they lose it, they're going to have to deal with a bunch of momentum sellers, right? And a bunch of liquidation from all the weekended buying that's been going on up here in this, 24 to 28 range. Tick came back to 0. The NYSE breath is actually continuing higher. Same with the NASDAQ. The advanced decline still above 2,000 on the NYSE. Healthcare is red. And you're seeing the Dow pull back a little bit here as well. Almost up there. Approach to that 4140. 12 points shy. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I agree. I think if they're back above 25, then they'll probably go attack that 30. That 30 offer is moving down, it looks like. Or at least kind of breaking up. Here's that 25 again. Microsoft's back on the high as well, too. In a video. Look at the absorption going on here. 3,100 contracts just traded the 25. The breadth is cooled a little bit. And the advanced decline is also cooled a little bit too here. I'm not saying that it's going to go down, but just something to be aware of. Yeah, and you wonder that big order that was sit. Oh no, it's actually still sitting there on the 30. Back, it's back. Bid stepping up here. See this bid jump up to 25.75. E period's gonna open up here in 1 minute too, so bunch of shorts just got stuck 28. Come on, get the fuck out of the way. They reloaded that 30 there. They traded him. See if they trade him again. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of stuck shorts now too, right? So you're working against like old business, stuck longs covering, and now you've got shorts, intraday shorts stuck buying here. So a little push pull going on. The fuck is the deal here? This. All right, we forgive you. It's not his fault he can't read. You ever seen Big Daddy? That's a good one. Adam Sandler and all of his like buddies that he always has in all of his movies. And the little kid. Yeah, yeah. What's your name? He'll write it on the wall. There we go. Nice. Here comes this 3775. It's gravitational pull. I see breath picking back up here. Nasdaq's still just kind of hanging. Uh-oh. Being disobedient. I'm not really commentating because there's not really much to say here. I mean, you're in along, continue to hold it. Don't short. We're starting to form another little distribution up here at the high above the 30 where that big seller was kind of sitting, and now you're seeing bids step up on the backside of that. I felt like 60. Hmm. Volume's definitely slowing down. I don't know about on the NASDAQ, but your volume's definitely slowing down. Nvidia's on a tear to the upside. Microsoft's still moving higher. Well, Microsoft's cooling a little bit. Apple's kind of consolidating at the high. The nicey breath is just still continuing strong, and healthcare is almost back to plus territory, positive territory. Is it gonna be nice today, or is it gonna be shitty all day? Oh dang, I'm back down to 30, huh? Stood up for a second, came back, and oh, liquidation. You're seeing that bid jump or offer jump down now too. A couple offers up above. See if they try to hold here at this 32 or they get ran over. Yeah. Excuse me. I don't know what is my allergies today. This is where the offer is kind of sitting at here. Basically like 37 or 34.75, 34 area. But look to see if it comes back in. And if not, then we just get kind of a, it's like a repeat of this price action here. Right? You get distribution, comes back down, they fail a level, comes back up. Continuation. C period opens up. Give the people what they want. 4,200. This Canadian dollar long is going really well now, finally. To the weekend. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of them are pretty correlated, and I think honestly, if I didn't trade the four of them, well, they were all planned, but if I didn't trade the four of them at the same time, it would have been a lot tougher to hold some of them because like the I got in a poor entry on the Japanese yen. It went down originally, then came back. The Canadian dollar originally went up, then came down, and now is back up. I ended up closing all the other ones. Probably should have held the Aussie dollar trade, but and that mostly the reason I was jumping into all of them was because the Fed was going to give the opportunity. I've been playing the Aussie dollar a lot. I like how it moves. Maybe getting some stuck shorts here on the 35 half. They're trying to re-offer this at 35 half level. If they can't move it lower than come on, Roach just wants 40. Just give it to him, okay? Looking around. Nice. Yeah, you're probably good, to be honest. So there we go, back to our equilibrium high. Where'd you at? 32? Nice. I added a 34 half. Yeah, kind of like the same idea, just not as good as yours. Yeah, that was nice. Mhm. There's 40. Must have been last in line. Yeah, if we get above 44, really the next level up is that 50, 54 area, value area high up. We do the same last Friday test, the fail to break the balance area. Now go back to balance area high or balance area low. You mean like up here? Looks like 41.48. Yeah, 41.48, 41.50 could be a. Above that, it's like 77. I live in a neighborhood that's full of old people, so everyone's retired. So like fucking, since it's not raining outside, everyone's out cutting their grass today, right now. Can you do that shit on Saturday with everybody else? Exactly. Yeah, this guy's a fucking idiot. That's why it's gonna be all, and they're not bagging it, so they're just mulching it, and so it just clumps up. It looks like shit. My grass looks. I got compliments on my grass. My grass looks fucking nice. I put the fucking cross hashes in it and everything. It looks good. Mm. Yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. I see. I like yard work and stuff like that. How old is old to you? I mean, like they're all like 65 plus. Like they're all retired. They're all 60 or older. I'm sure minimum. That's old to me. Double my age. It depends who you ask though. Like if my dad's in here, 54 is old. I consider him old. Wish my blackberries grew at the speed of this fake bamboo that's back here. Things are like fucking 3 feet tall already. Yeah, yeah. I used to eat as a kid. Um, honeysuckle. Did you guys ever have that? It was like this little flower. It would grow like on a bush. You pull the flowers out, and then you pull the stem out of the back of the flower, and it was like honey. It was like sweet nectar in there. It was good. And that what do they call it? They call it a plumber's grass, a farmer's grass, some shit. There's like it looks like a weed, but it's actually not a weed. Pick it off the ground and eat it. Of course, like any anytime you pick something up off the ground out, well, especially in my backyard, if you don't wash it first, you're probably gonna eat a little bit of piss because there's a bunch of fucking animals back here. Hmm. People do that with dandelions too. They're supposed to be good for you. Once you fucking once you fry them and shit, then it kind of defeats the nutritional value, I'm sure. But Old school, yeah. Don't waste anything. Yeah, and like a glass, like a mason glass. Would she let you help at all or no? Like when she's cooking? I would always see like because my buddy, he's Sicilian, but it's real similar to Italian, and his nonna would be like in the kitchen cooking or whatever, and his mom had two other sisters, and so they'd be like in there trying to help, and then she'd just eventually get pissed and like just be like, get out, and just kick them all out. Yeah, we say 1 quart yellow dandelion blossoms rinsed with a gallon of boiling water, 8 cups white sugar, drink cup. What does it do? Oh, it's wine, dandelion wine. Someone's been in fucking prison over here. Just kidding. I saw some clips from this show called fuck, now I can't remember the name of the show. It's like these people go into jails, they're like undercover, and the clips like they're so exciting, and then you actually, yeah, yeah, yeah. 60 days in, I think, yeah, I think that's it. And the clips make the show look just like fucking nonstop, action or drama, and then you watch the show and it's like pretty slow. I wish they'd bring back that show Scared Straight and bring some of these kids that are fucking out of control. There's this kid in my son's jujitsu class. I fucking what's that? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that show a lot too. Or just like not snitching on yourself. Yeah, that's pretty much how they all get caught. Well, that's what she gets, stupid ass bitch. What are you stealing a power drill for? You know? Oh yeah, well that makes sense. Yeah. I was reading a statistic. I was reading a statistic the other day, and it was saying 70% of the inmate population grew up in single mother homes. And it also said most of the people that work for like the CIA went through like just the right amount of childhood trauma. So like it's almost, I mean it's not almost, it is saying like that childhood trauma is almost a necessity in, you know, being like a top tier person, because CIA is no joke. Like people are like, oh, CIA is just another cop, but like it's not. You know, it's like you gotta fucking be sharp as fuck to be in the CIA. You can't just pass a physical fitness test one time. It's the there's probably a lot of well, it's a yeah, but a lot of them are probably CIA agents that get selected to the Secret Service. Yeah, yeah, it's like a special duty assignment kind of. You know the right person, you get on the right detail. Being a Secret Service agent would just be complete ass though. Like you don't have any, like, your time is not yours at all. Especially if you're on Secret Service for somebody that's busy. Like if you're a Secret Service for Trump and he's always fucking on the move, you're always on the move. Secret Service for Biden is probably pretty easy. Just stand at the corner of his bed and watch him until the press conference starts. Secret Service for Nancy Pelosi's probably rich. They're just sitting there, fly on the wall. Oh yeah, what kind of shady deal are we doing this week, Nancy? You're like, oh, Nvidia. Oh, okay. Call your wife. Be like, hey, buy Nvidia. Don't ask me why, because I can't tell you, but just I have a feeling. Yeah. See, and he probably gets paid stacks, whereas like those Secret Service agents, they're not making stacks of cash. They're like, once they fulfill their obligation, then they basically get to collect the same paycheck that they worked for their whole life for the rest of their life. So that's where the benefits come in. But if you're working private security for like a rich person, your life's probably chill, especially if you befriend them and they like you. Right. Yeah. The contract. Yeah. Yeah. Like like a contractor. And you've got to have a good clearance too to be carrying a gun in New York City, because they're basically fucking banned. Yeah, that sounds like New York. Well, just in the city, really. Some places it's so, like in Texas, it's like $50. Like, I don't have a concealed carry permit, like $50, and take this weekend course, and boom, it's yours. All right, Thomas, have a good weekend, man. Catch you later. What do you say, Lackawanna County? What? Yeah, yeah, same here. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like having the gun is not really going to save your life in a situation where, if you're not trained with the gun, yeah, you could get lucky and hit someone because everyone can kind of point and shoot, but that's like all these like, you know, weak people that are like, oh, well, if some big guy tried to attack me, I'll just shoot him. Like, all right, good luck. Yeah, you got to break it apart, separate it. Yeah, and you can't stop anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I take mine everywhere, but it's more or less just like a last resort type of situation. Because, like, basically, it's like, if you draw your weapon, it shouldn't be to scare somebody. You know what I mean? It should be drawn and pulled, like, right away. Yeah. 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 You would. Yeah. It's that same way in Texas, too. Open carry. Yeah, as long as it's visible. In California, you can carry a fixed any type of fixed blade knife, any size, as long as it's visible. That's why you see like when I was living in Yuba City, a lot of those Indians would carry like I mean, it's like a religious thing. The Sikhs, they carry a dagger. They called it swords in the newspaper when they got in that fight recently, but yeah, it's just like a big ass dagger. Savage though, like I think that's pretty savage. Like they got in a disagreement, the Sikhs did, and then they just started fucking knife fighting. You know, that's yeah, yep. Yeah, because so in Yuba City, like is like one of the biggest Sikh populations in the United States, and then we have the Sikh parade every year, which is the biggest parade in the United States. And I mean, I don't know what happened. All of my encounters with the Sikhs are they're really hardworking people, and they hate fucking lazy people. Um, and the way that they run their family is actually really cool because like all of the money comes from within the family. So instead of like borrowing money from you know a bank or from a credit union or something, there's somebody in the family or a collective group of people in the family that will pull together, pay the tuition or whatever it is that is the cost. Like let's say one of the kids is going to nursing school or something like that, they'll pay for it, and then you just pay them back. But I think what happened was I think a couple of the family members might have been getting into some illegal activities, and then some of the elders are probably like fucking over it because I saw a DEA agent pull over and arrest like at the gas station that was right near my house um an Indian guy, and like they fucking DEA jackets on and shit. So some something's going on, because if the DEA is in Yuba City, that's kind of a big deal, because I mean it's not a big city. So I think maybe like some of the younger generations were getting into some of the quick money because they didn't want to do the family business, which out there is farming. And fucking elders probably like, fuck no, bitch. Hold their knives out, fucking. Yeah, they work together. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like yeah, it's just not, they don't do anything illegal. Well, supposedly. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, and the market's, sorry, go ahead. Well, the market's coming into this high volume area, right? So it makes sense that it kind of slows down, and then really what we'll look for here is, if we break up, we'll look for volume to come in, and then for them to kind of hold the gap. That would show that they trapped a lot of inventory here. Same thing on the bottom side. If it breaks and can't get back into this high volume node, then that would show, trapped on the other side, and then we'll look really to that low of balance, honestly. And then that trade through those single prints from the third, basically straight, we just traded straight through them. I mean, we can call it a pullback. It was like a little hesitation before trading right through them. Kind of shows us that all that old business is already taken care of. So we do have some intraday trap short still. You can see the VPOC is still, down like 25. And so there's probably still a decent amount of trapped inventory short. So even any move down probably spotting, spotting up. Time is 11. No, no, it hasn't. Little liquidation there. There's that below zero tick you were looking for. And you're starting to see, the kind of forming of a P shape here. Where was that offer at above 36? Yeah, like 36 is 36-ish area. I got long that 34 again. See if it keeps going. I already moved my stop up to 35 though. Sad. This was the offer right here at 37. So a failure to close those single prints really on the first move lower, you see some shorts get stuck there at the low, right? 500, almost 600, well, a little bit over 600, 200 bid. Market goes up tick. My entry was late, should have been here, but The low tick on the day is negative 512, what we just put in. If the weighted AD can make a higher high right here, that looks pretty good. Yeah, Nasdaq got resistance right in that area, that 66.59 area. Next level up I have is like 13,300. We're trying to take this 37.5 bid right here. A lot of bids trying to step up, pull this thing up. second test of them. And so at this point right here, you're looking for some MGI, right, to kind of convince you at least to maybe re-enter a long or add to your already current long position. And something that would do that is, if this low here kind of dies out around this B halfback, right? That happens to be basically the top of the old single prints and the halfback of the initial balance, well, the halfback of the B period during initial balance. And that would kind of tell you that short time frame longs are kind of in control. Now we are seeing, the first kind of like break and hold below that 50, right, which we like to use as a trend line. You still, you still have the VWAP much lower, and it's not necessarily kind of flattening out yet. It is, it's not as steep as it has been, but it's not necessarily flat yet either. The breadth is pretty much holding, or the advanced decline is pretty much holding. Nasdaq's pulled off a bit. The Nasdaq breadth is pretty much near right where it's open. Same thing as the NYSE breadth as well. We've been a little bit higher on both, a little bit lower on both. Yeah, we can hear you. I'm gonna try to do some. 1 minute till the next period. The dreaded E period. An E period on a Friday is pretty much, uh, like the end, because you get pretty much all of the markets, like the London closed E period, so all of the other markets are pretty much done for the weekend. I'm gonna also take that cue as well. I have to go run some errands anyways. I'll leave up the Discord too, in case anyone just needs the charts. But I probably just won't be on much. But yeah, other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you're managing risk and sticking to your trade plan. If you don't have a trade plan, don't trade. And remember, there's always three options: long, short, or just sit there and watch. Yeah, you guys have a good weekend. I'll catch you guys later.